I'm one of the ones that honestly, I'm the first one with my lights up. Uh, I demand it.
That's great. And
I'm
don't ever
probably, I bring up
apologize for it.
Sevier. I'm one of the last people to take the Christmas trees down. So whether we get to it finally, like I'm a Christmas baby, so sometimes I'll wait till my birthday to put the Christmas tree up, but then it will stay up through February, and then we start thinking, can we turn it into a Valentine's Day tree? I don't know.
You don't understand how much joy you just brought me. I've been arguing with my wife for years. My point is, why do we need to take it down? You just switch the ornaments.
It could just be the seasonal tree.
A seasonal tree.
Yes.
There it is.
I like it.
Copywritten from this moment on.
That's right.
We'll
I think
share
we
it.
get a whole brand going.
It sounds like a movie to me.
There it is. There's the next one.
There's the next one.
A seasonal tree romance.
Exactly.
By Corey Sevier and Brooke Nevin.
That's right. That's
And
right.
it can just be, we can just go through all the seasons. It can be a collection of movies. And then we can sell it as a box set.
Yeah. And it can play any time of year. You can literally put it on TV at any holiday and it's going to hit the mark. So it's.
We've broken the system. There it is. There. We found a way.
Done it. We finally done it.
The greatest minds in cinema history have not been able. No, okay.
No, here it is. Started here.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to speak with you both. Thank you. I love the film. It's a joy.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
It really is. It's just heartwarming and lovely. I absolutely adore the holiday films. And my understanding is for both of you, you're no stranger to this style of film. What is it that keeps bringing you back?
Well, for me, I mean, Kate's script is what brought me back to this movie in particular. As soon as it landed in my inbox, I started reading it, and I was so taken in by how she set up the main character and her quest to do right by her town. She leads with so much heart and faith in other people, and I just loved it. So, and then the opportunity to work with Corey again was a huge plus for me. So, there's something about filming these movies. They're quite fast. You make fast friends and family with the cast and crew. You work together for a quick sort of 3-week shoot, and then you're off again. But it's such a joyous process. You get to lean into all of the things that make the holidays special, whether it's drinking hot chocolate on screen or doing a tobogganing sequence or making these beautiful Christmas scenes come to life. It's just a joyous process. So that's part of it.
Unlike that you're decorating your house, you have an entire team of people around you making Christmas look as great as it can ever look. So it's actually, for anyone who loves the holidays, and Brooke and I obviously do, it's very inspiring, and they're fun. Generally, whether you're shooting them in the middle of the summertime or it's close to Christmas, like the one that we did here, people tend to be in a pretty good mood. Filmmaking can be a challenge, but when you're doing content like this, which is generally uplifting, it's fun. You get to relive a little bit of your own childhood, in these films. They're pleasant, and as Brooke said, they're very fast, but they're obviously a really great way to spend 3 weeks. And for me, there's something nice to know that the more I've done these, the more I've realized there is such a big audience for them. Just being able to do something that that people are really gonna enjoy. There's no greater gift as an actor or filmmaker, whatever it be, to be a part of something like this.
And that was at the forefront of Corey's wish while making the movie. It was so obvious how much he cared about how this movie was going to be received by audiences, whether it was in the decorations or choosing the most cinematic experience for the viewers. It was really a part of the process of making this movie, was how people would enjoy the film either on the big screen or in their living rooms, with hopefully surrounded by family and friends.
Exactly. Yeah. The big thing, I should mention, it was a very personal, film for me. Our writer, Kate, is also my wife.
Oh, wow.
So it was truly born like in our living room one night when we were, coming up with ideas. We both are, love Christmas. So that was step one, that it was so important for me to do justice to Kate's story. I was given the incredible opportunity to direct it as well as act in it. And then my next task was, okay, how do we do this justice? So I said to our producers, look, if I I really want this to be shot at Christmas or around the holidays. So we could do justice to the town and the scope of all that. Now, with shooting in the actual winter comes its own challenges. Because that breath you see, that is real. That,
It was so cold.
it was so cold, and Brooke and the entire cast and our crew. I mean, they're all out there, at least the actor, we get to kind of run in and warm up from time, the crew's out there, just working so hard. But I did, as Brooke kind of mentioned, I got this sense that they really felt like we were making a true Christmas film, a true holiday film. And, that's reflected from everything from, where we put the cameras, what we were able to see, the actual snow, the actual tobogganing. And it was a real joy to do. So it was, and then I just had to figure out, who do we cast in this film? And the first person I thought of was Brooke, because she's an incredible person, incredible actress. And I'm like, who's tough enough to handle the rigors of what this is going to be? And man, I'm like, are you okay? I'm telling you, man, it was so cold. You have to have someone like Brooke, at the forefront of it. So we were very grateful.
I do it for my art.
She suffered all right, but I'm very proud of the film, and I'm grateful for that, and the entire crew.
Where did you shoot?
In and around the Hamilton area. So
okay.
The polar vortex came
right through.
And
wow.
it was legitimately cold. But again, it was a catch-22, because without that, we don't get to do all the sequences that we did, the tobogganing and all that sort of thing. We're dragging that Christmas tree through that open field. It really is -20 through an open field, but there's an authenticity that comes with that as well. So we had so many beautiful locations. Fergus, Ontario, the Ancaster Mill was one of our locations, and it was just spectacular. The waterfall that literally was frozen. We were frozen standing next to it, of course, but it just puts you in such a Christmassy mood, in my opinion. So
yeah, I was wondering about that. That waterfall was stunning. I saw it there, and I was, I think Brooke's character it's Alex. Is it Alex?
Yes, that's
yes.
right.
Alex says, "Oh, I could move here," and I thought I could too. It's really nice.
Yeah, we got so lucky with with the locations we had, and that beautiful little church, that we got to work at, which, don't tell anyone, that was steps away from the waterfall. It was this incredible location that we got so much out of in that. And it's a small town, so it really had that feel, the old mill and everything. And my wife wrote it based on an area where her and her family grew up, Almont, Ontario, that had these historical old mills and, the water motifs throughout, and the river. And so it was really important to find locations that reflected that. And very grateful to the production team. They came up big time with these beautiful spots, and we got to play and be very cold, but have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, and it looked like you guys are having a blast. It's wonderful to know that's real snow, or at least that actually makes me appreciate it a little more, because I was like, oh, this is lovely. They probably filmed it in August, but you guys really went for it.
We were shooting in January, and the snowfall, the sequences where you have that beautiful actual snowfall.
It was actually snow, and not just actually snow. When we're filming, we film scenes out of sequence, and just because of the schedule of filming, we had to go do the second part of a scene from the other day. And I remember it wasn't snowing during that scene, and then the next, we're like, oh my goodness, is the snow continuity going to match? Because for one turnaround, it wasn't snowing, and then we were worried it was going to be snowing. But of course, it was just magical that when it snowed for the end sequence of the movie, it was beautiful, and like these snow flurries that just romantically drifted into screen, and then it stopped right in time when we needed the continuity to match.
We went back to a earlier scene of the film, and it stopped. We literally walked up the steps, not to give it away, but you haven't seen the film, what happens at the end of the film. as the first take of us walking up those stairs, it started snowing, and it snowed for that entire sequence. And then we went back to the waterfall to pick something up, and it had stopped, which was perfect because it wasn't snowing on Brookside. It really was just, we got very fortunate. I guess we paid our dues in the weather enough that the snow god smiled on us and
Yes,
gave
they
it something
did.
snow cinematic. So
Well, there's a real charm to it, and actually, that I can sense that. Now you've done, and you guys have quite worked in a number of different jobs, a number of different types of films. I was wondering, like you said, is there really a different sort of vibe on this sort of set? Like, I mean, sure, it's the holidays, but like you said, a lot of times it's just not around them. What is so different about this environment than another soundstage?
well, from an art perspective, like an art team perspective,
Mhm.
you can fake a lot of things cinematically, but you can't. Everyone, Christmas is so iconic. Like you have to create an atmosphere within. You can do a lot of stuff in post and whatnot in different genres, but I think you have to really sell Christmas in these films, and that requires such a large group of people.
Mm.
And you said sometimes you're shooting them in the summertime, and you have an entire crew of people that are just on snow patrol.
Yep.
But it creates a magical atmosphere. You could be standing there, and in the middle of a grassy field, and they turn on the lights at night, and suddenly snow, fake, albeit fake snow, is falling on you, and it really does create a special atmosphere, I find. And I think that people recognize it, and Brooke can speak to this too, having done so many holiday films as well. You want to try to genuinely have fun, because I think that shows up on screen.
Mhm.
And people are generally just in good moods. And you can lean into, at least for myself, part of the year that I look forward to every year. And yeah, it's just it's a joy, and it's yeah, that's been my experience anyway with these.
Yeah. I think it's the same for me too. I think there's something sort of instinctual or elemental that when you walk onto set and you see, the bright colors of Christmas balls on a Christmas tree, or the twinkle lights that set a certain atmosphere. I think it's this sort of unconscious bubbling up of sort of that suspension of disbelief that just comes in, and it just feels like Christmas. And if that's a season you look forward to, like I do, then it just sort of infuses the whole atmosphere on set. You can't help it.
Yeah, it's contagious.
Yeah, it must be. Well, that begs the question. I mean, I'm sure you've thought about this, you've asked before, but like you said before, there's a real audience for these sorts of almost whimsical Christmas romances, and they've focused primarily on this particular holiday season. I mean, there aren't a lot of St. Patrick's Day or Halloween romances in the same way. You don't have there's no sweeping Labor Day romances that I've seen.
Not yet.
Not yet. But with our film On the Tree, no, I'm kidding.
This
The
is our
Labor Day
chance.
tree. That's
I want to see a Halloween tree.
Yeah.
So, but what is it? What is it about this season that makes these films so appealing?
I think there's a lot of themes that intersect with Christmas and with romance.
Mm.
I mean, there's this themes of vulnerability and connection, of I think to fall in love with someone, you have to put a certain faith in that person maybe being the one, even if you don't know what's going to happen next. So I think there's a lot of intersecting themes. I think and in our movie, we have a lot of the intergenerational relationships that are so important during the holidays when you get to see extended family. And so we explore relationship in our movie between Darcy and his grandmother, and between my character and her father. And obviously it's one of the messages that I love about our film is both of these characters pushing through sort of these this feud, or this notion in town of a certain family against another certain family, and breaking down those barriers or those assumptions in order to connect on an individual level for the greater good. So I think all of those themes are just so prevalent in these movies, and are such great subjects for this time of year.
Yeah, it's the end of the year. It's sort of, Brooke said it so beautifully. Like, those were such important themes. You know, when I think of Christmas personally, or the holidays, it's family time, and, you know, bridging old wounds, or starting anew, or opening yourself up to new possibilities, as well as honoring the past, are often, you know, certainly prevalent in this film, but so many of these holiday films. And, you know, it's a time of year that I've always found, you know, life can be so busy, and then you finally have this week or two where you're just with the people that you love, hopefully, and it's a chance to slow down. And I think watching things that reflect the themes that, you know, universally people will feel, especially at the end of the year, people like to feel like they're, you know, they're either, you know, starting over, or continuing traditions, whatever it may be, because these are so prevalent in these films. I think it really touches something in people at the perfect time of year for it.
Yeah, yeah, there's something magical about this sort of time that connects all of these themes that you're bringing in together. And actually, it's interesting. You talk about intergenerationally, you talk about connecting with family. One of the things about this film I thought was so interesting is that there's a real tension between moving forward and the past.
Yeah.
I was wondering, why was that such an important theme for you both when you read the script?
Well, you know, for me, it was what made the film a little bit different. You know, one of my favorite things, you know, speaking as the director, was watching the relationship unfold between Brooke's character Alex and Ron Lee, who played her dad Art. And, you know, in any film, you have to have conflict. You know, and in a Christmas world where so much of it is light and fun, I was important to me that there were still actual obstacles to overcome. And so by creating, you know, and this is me kind of going off of this beautiful story that my wife came up with, but like, what was so important and so impressive to me about what she wrote was that you have these two people that you want to watch fall in love, but there was genuine obstacles to get over because of the past. And Brooke's character driving the film, being the mayor, wanting what's best for everyone, it was a great way for her, that this sort of, it's a really hard obstacle, this reclusive guy who even the town isn't sure about them. It's about sort of healing that. So that was what was so important about those themes to me. Just dramatically, it made the film, it gave an extra layer of true drama with the film. And one thing that we haven't touched on, and I'll let Brooke touch on this as well, is that her character personally has her own past with Christmas and the association with her mother's character. And so as much as her character was always giving to everyone else, and making sure everyone else was lifted up, we had to figure out what could Darcy's character, the character I played, give to her or help her with in her personal journey. And the romance, kind of the tobogganing, and even though they're sort of reclusive in the beginning of the film, they really decorate their home for Christmas. And there's a warmth to that. And bringing Brooke's character into that environment kind of opens up things and vulnerability for her in her past. So that's a very long-winded way of saying there was lots of themes that I just thought would add a richness to a story that still has all the fun and the Christmas elements that you see in some of these films. But I really wanted it to be a true, you know, journey about watching two people, a number of people, but especially Brooke's character and my character Darcy, grow, you know, through this experience.
Yeah, and what I did love about the conflict in this movie in particular is that the tension arose from not just some sort of plot device, but really in the core identity of these characters. It was very character generated. And so, you know, when you're getting to work on a backstory or something, sometimes these movies lend themselves to being able to dive a little deeper into that than other movies. And I really loved thinking about what Alex's past might have been like, and what her Christmases were with her mom, and what kind of a childhood she might have had with her father, who himself was probably busy even in his sleep, and why she might have been so much closer to her mom during the holidays, and then forging this new relationship with her dad, where they don't have necessarily the easiest relationship. They're close, but not in the way that maybe Alex was with her mother. And I think part of Alex's coping is being busy even in her sleep, because it's easier for her to sort of tend to everyone around her than take a moment to be still and maybe sit in a little bit of the grief during the holidays, or or lean into giving herself permission to feel joy and like a kid again. And that's what Darcy's character brings out in her. But she's the first one that has the courage to step forward and see Darcy for the individual that he is and what he has to offer, instead of subscribing to this long held feud or notion that the Hawkins family is not good for the town.
Yeah. He's not his father.
Yes,
and nor is she, and
Yeah.
that's a really beautiful thing. And the theme of a new generation in the town that can hopefully have them move forward in a more positive way.
Yeah, I like that aspect of it. It's not even just about your character, Corey. It's also about Brooks as well, as sort of this, how can we chart a new path from our base, our parents have made some mistakes, but we're going to start over, and we're going to start over.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a delight. I loved it. I truly had a blast. It's just such a sweet, wonderful film. How can we watch it? How can we get our handle on it? I was a little confused. It's in theaters for one night, and
One night only.
on Super Channel. One night only.
It's so Landmark theaters across Canada tonight, 7:00. You can check your local listings, and you can go and watch it. It's in association with Super Channel, and we were so honored that people have a chance to see this on a big screen. They going into it, you typically don't expect that. It's magical experience, obviously sitting at home with your family or on your couch, but to see it in a big screen was such a delightful surprise. And then on December 4th is the premiere on Super Channel in Canada. But if you have Super Channel on demand, you can start watching it as of December 1st. So if you can't, you're not living close to, a movie theater, obviously you can get on the Super Channel in Canada, and you can watch it there.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I certainly hope a lot of people tune into it, because it's just such a blast. Thank you so much to you both for the chance to chat with you. I really wish you the best. And just thanks so much for your time.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It's a joy to talk about this movie.
Thank you, same here. It's an absolute pleasure. And keep that Christmas tree up. I like where
I
you're
will.
Yeah, I want to see the Valentine's version.
That's right.
Here's the title: A Tree for All Seasons.
It writes itself.
There it is.
I love it.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.